Hi, my name's Josh Wade, and you're listening to Uncommon.
Hi, my name is Sam Lindell, and you're listening to Uncommon.
This podcast is brought to you by Neural Media. Are you an entrepreneur or marketer who needs help making podcasts, video, or animation? Perhaps you don't have time to manage a freelancer or the budget to deal with an agency. Well, Neural Media can help you with simple and affordable content creation, saving you time and money by taking away the pain of producing that content. To learn more, head to neural.com/media. That's neurale.com/media. Play around with our pricing or request a callback directly. Listeners to the show receive a special discount by using the promo code UNCOMMON. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon, the podcast that helps you build your knowledge, skills, and mindset through interviews with unique individuals. My name's Jordan Michaelides, and I'm your host. In this episode, I have for you both Josh Wade and Sam Lindell, directors of Verve Network, a diversified talent agency focused on pushing the boundaries of entertainment. Most of the audience will know Josh from his work as a comedian, but not too many will know of his foray into the world of managing talent. In under 2 years, Verve has made a name for itself as a serious player in a stale industry. The stable of talent includes the likes of Isaac Butterfield, Luke Kidgel, Saint Lane, Frenchie, and the Fairbairn brothers as well. This was a short but nonetheless interesting chat during the Comedy Fest, which covered how Josh and Sam met, how Verve started, explaining what they do, Verve pitches, learning from the likes of industry legends like Michael Ovitz and Scooter Braun, and what the future looks like as well. If you enjoyed this episode, do leave us a rating or a review. That would be most kind of you to do so. If you want to keep up to date with episode promos, follow us on Instagram. That's just at uncommon_podcasts. Or if you want to watch the episode in video, just search Uncommon Neural on YouTube to watch that as well. Show notes and all previous guests can be found at neural.com/podcast. That's neurale.com/podcast. Thank you so much for listening, our regulars for coming back, our newbies for giving us a shot. Hope you all enjoy this conversation with Josh Wade and Sam Lindell. All right, we're live.
We are live.
Josh, Sam,
Thanks for having us.
thanks for coming in.
Good to be here.
How's the International Comedy Fest been?
It's good. Very good.
Yeah?
So it's a long time, but it's good fun.
You guys have been down here for like 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely been, we have our little sanctuary in the office, and I like that. That's why I don't do comedy anymore. So to be back in it is fun, but we're
creatures of routine as well.
Yeah. You
So,
guys
like-
are early birds, aren't you?
Yeah.
Have you always been like that?
Yeah, I asked my mum, and she said I was always like a happy kid waking up in the morning. There was never, through high school, I just didn't wake up, but I was a morning person. When I got up, I wasn't grouchy or anything. I was always, and I'll always open the door, and either Sam will be awake or one of us will be awake, and we'll say something stupid to each other as we walk in. That's how we start the day. So,
What time do you guys get in the office normally?
8 a.m.
8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've for the last few years, I progressively got worse at waking up early. I wake up when you're in the office at the moment, but I've gotten a lot better at having a routine. I think that was it. Is like I didn't have, I asked all my guests about a morning routine and an evening routine, but I got lazy on my own, where I was just staying up way too late. But then again, it's also been the fact that because we've been doing all this stuff, you sort of just have to work insane hours.
Yeah.
We'll go in at 8, but it's pretty common that we won't leave until 8:39, and that's 7 days a week.
For the last 2 weeks, it's just been, obviously with the Comedy Fest on, all of these, Lauren's just going full-time in the business as of Monday. So, yeah, it's been like 1 a.m. nights for the last 2 or 3 weeks, which drains you a bit.
It does. I was saying this to Sam earlier, our free time for ourselves, try and fit in a routine, whether that's just going to the gym or doing something like that, is, from 8:30, 9 o'clock at night until 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. in the morning. But like the thing is, we either get up,
you need to sleep.
Yeah,
as well.
you need to sleep in
washing.
that. So like either, and the way that I think of it, I either go to the gym early in the morning, like 5:30 or something.
Yeah.
Shower there, come to work, or go really late and have an early night that night, or go really late at night and get to sleep in until 7. So
I tried going to the gym early and it's not for me. I just cannot do it.
Really?
Yeah, I have to.
Do you
go
find
at
that
night.
like you just don't have the energy at that time of the day?
I just can't do it.
it's back and forth for me.
Yeah.
It's like, do you have enough energy in the morning to get the momentum, or are you so tired
I
at
just
night
can't.
that you can't?
I can't open my eyes.
Yeah.
The alarm will go off and I'll just be like, I just can't do that.
Yeah.
But at night time, I have all the energy in the world.
See, that's been the biggest thing for me is like I've now got my alarm. It's 8 a.m. As soon as it goes off, I'm not allowed to look at my phone in bed because that is a bad cue.
Mm-hmm.
You start just getting super lazy. I can only snooze it once, and my partner has absolute privilege to come in and just open all the blinds because you just need to get like light on your
I
eyes.
sleep with the blinds open. I
Do
don't
you?
close them.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how I wake up.
That's interesting. I don't know if I could do that.
I don't know what I do. I mean, the thing is, outside my window, there's quite a lot of palm trees and that, so it's dark regardless.
Yeah.
I don't like my bedroom. I hate it. I actually hate the time that I'm in my room alone. That's
Really?
sort of, yeah, because it's just like, I like the hustle and bustle of it all. Like,
You like social contact.
yeah, but at the same time, I don't. I don't have what I like. I just like, I like doing what I do, but going to sleep, that's all I want to do in my room, just go to sleep and then get up and that's it. Yeah, and it's very, very common that I'll just walk straight in the door and just walk straight in my room.
Straight to bed.
And straight to bed.
Yeah, I can't do that. I need time to power down. How did the two of you meet?
So I actually met Josh at his show.
Oh, did you? Oh,
Yeah.
I feel like you mentioned this to me. I don't know if it was on a previous episode.
Probably.
Yeah. So you met at a show.
Yeah, on the Gold Coast. That's because I've lived on the Gold Coast for like 15 years.
Yeah.
And how long ago was it? Like 2-3 years ago?
Probably close to 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where did this idea, like where did it, you've met each other, where did the friendship go from there to the point that you're like, all right, let's start a talent agency together?
It took a little bit of time. We talked on just like Messenger for a while, and then we met up probably like, he was still on tour, so like I think it was like 2 months later, he came back and then we just met up. But I think we both knew like, we had something, like when we talked, we always talked about business, nothing really else. And we always knew that something was going to come about, but we just didn't really know what.
Yeah.
Until about a year later.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we were just friends, and like there was something, I don't know how to sort of explain it, but I feel like I've got good intuition and have like a good signal on people and that, and there was just for some reason, I'd meet so many people out just doing my thing and my shtick, but there was something important about Sam. I didn't know what it was, but I was like, there's something about you that there's a reason that I've met you for some reason here at this moment, and that's why we stayed in contact, became friends, and then, yeah, I mean, like I said, there was probably this one time that Sam invited me to go to some polo thing, and it was just to go have drinks and act like fuckheads and
Typical Gold Coast.
yeah, and we went to this thing, and Sam would tell me like these different ideas that he had for things, and they'd make me super excited because at that time as well, I was really probably disillusioned, I guess, with what I was doing, and sort of I'd already had a really good lesson and experience in if I put my mind to something and I say I'm going to do it, and then every day I do it, I get it. So I was sort of in this weird phase where I was like, well, maybe I aimed too low. Maybe like if that's all it takes, if the blueprint is just wake up, say and do, then what should I do next with that power? Like I almost felt like I was fucking Matilda. So I guess, we'd just keep having conversations, and then one day we went to, I know it was probably just a Friday and there was nothing on, and we were just like, do you want to go grab a drink or something? And we're like, yeah, okay. So we went into Broadbeach and just had a drink, and I was sort of already floating with the idea. I'd started this like little marketing thing called Anarchist, which was the idea. Yeah, real fucking great. But the idea of it was like, oh yeah, we're gonna be like a we're gonna break the barrier. We're gonna cause some sort of like anarchy in this space and do things differently. And it didn't really work. I'd made a couple of documents and stuff like that, but wasn't really gonna.
So it was like a bit of entrepreneuring in a way. You
Yeah,
sort
for
of
sure.
playing entrepreneur.
I was not really. I was just trying. I was just trying different things.
Well, I did that for years. You know, you do all
I
sorts
think
of
everyone
things.
does it. Yeah.
Build a website, incorporation documents, all that sort of stuff, and
then I just didn't do anything with
Yeah.
it. And yes, I just said to Sam, hey, like this is. I know that you want to do something. I know I want to do something. We're both not really sure what it is yet, but I don't know. That was probably the gist of the conversation.
Yeah,
I guess.
it was.
And literally, we went, all right, well, let's do something.
okay.
And literally the next day, we both met up at a cafe just downstairs from my place, and we went on Google and we started to look at just different, not names, but we were just trying to find what are we going to call it. And we didn't know what we were calling what. It was like having a child that was non-binary at that point. And we found, eventually after probably 2 hours, we found the word Verve.
Okay.
And which means like vigor, gusto, which was sort of playing back into that thing before. We were like, well, yeah, that's what we've got. We've got heart, we've got desire, and where the fun part of it is, we're going to go in and play against the chess masters, and they think we don't know anything.
Yeah.
So that's sort of what the fun part was of the whole experience is. So yeah, that's sort of how we met, and from the start, like I said, we didn't know what we wanted to do.
Yeah, it's definitely evolved from the very start.
Like, where did the idea of the talent agency come from? Had you already been doing stuff for people, or
no? So the way that it started was for about a year, even before this. I'd say this is probably about a year and 3/4 ago. We were just working from cafes for like 7, 8, 9, probably 10 months. Just literally every single day going to cafes, and we'd sit in one cafe for 4 or 5 hours. They'd kick us out. We'd go to the next one, and we were just coming up with different ideas for, different TV show IPs that we could, try and sell to people, because I knew a couple of people that worked in TV and that, and we were always looking at the Simon Cowell business model of, create an IP, sell that IP everywhere, and, we understand this social space. Sam and I are both consumers of that medium. We understand it inherently. It's not something that we've ever learned. It's just what we know. And then we were like, well, how do we make money from it? We're just constantly running around trying to get investors. And we realized that was the biggest mistake that so many people make, was whether it was an app idea that we had, which we had plenty of those and we'd built them and whatnot, or, a TV show idea or a web series idea or something. The problem that we had, and this comes back to the ethos and the core of what we do, is it was out of our control. And that's the worst thing for an entrepreneur or anyone that wants to do something, is to not be able to grab it by the balls and make it theirs. I didn't want to have someone say yes to me. That's why I became a comedian in the first place anyway, because I was like, well, fuck, I can say whatever the fuck I want, and it's my gig.
So you wanted something that didn't require insane amounts of capital or, engineering hours, or, something that you could do with the skill set that you currently had.
Yeah, all it required was a good understanding, and going back to the name, which was having gusto and a bit of heart, and working for other people. I mean, we sit in a really cool area where we are both. Well, our whole thing is, we don't have to worry about investors or anything like that, because our whole thing is just pleasing the end consumer. And when you please the end consumer, you'll always win, whether it's selling tickets for live events, whether it's merchandise, whether it's, the online content, whatever it is. The whole idea of it is to find a way for the people that we work with to give the best experience to their consumers. That's the only way that we win. Money will come and go and whatnot, and people have their peaks and flows in the entertainment industry. that's easy. Anyone can deal with that. Anyone can pick up the phone, call up a venue and say, hey, we book this at this time? Like, they're not talents, and I think a lot of people think they are. Our major strength is, I think, we just understand people. We have a very good understanding of why people do the things that they do, and I guess that probably just comes back to Sam and I have had interesting upbringings where we've had to understand people that are older than us, and we became men a lot quicker or became adults a lot quicker than other people.
I think back to the investment point, it's like, the people with the money are older people, and we just came to the conclusion that these people have absolutely no idea what we're trying to do. They don't understand it. So if we were to bring in money from other people, they have different visions than us, and we never wanted our vision to be damaged by anyone else for any reason. So that's why we just went, fuck it, let's do it ourselves.
And because I feel like initially you said to me that you guys were considering like just doing marketing stuff, like you were just focused on content and stuff like that. Who was like how did the talent thing come about? Did a comedian say to you, hey, I need some help with this stuff? Or was it like, you know what, like we could probably do what I was doing for me and then just offer that as a service to these guys? Yeah,
I mean, we work in multiple verticals, so obviously we're here for the comedy festival, but we've got musicians, DJs, we've got a bunch of different, to us it's the exact same blueprint, it's pleasing the end consumer, but for us the first one was Isaac Butterfield, and, that was just natural because, me and Isaac used to work together on the road, and he was making videos, and it was just Sam and I weren't really working on anything on any of the talent side of things, and he'd just come to us and ask us a question here and there, and I guess that's...
I think it was more like, we always knew we wanted to get into this, but if you look at the space, it's, if you want to be a talent, manage talent, you have to either poach them or create them. And we didn't want to poach anyone because we had nothing. We didn't have any back record of anyone that we've built up or anything like that. So we knew we had to make the next star. So then we sat down and we said, who do we know that we think actually has the potential? And it was Isaac had been opening for Josh, and I'd met Isaac a few times. I've seen him perform. And I think we just both knew that like he had what it takes.
Wow.
He just started making videos. I think he'd made like 3 YouTube videos at this point. So we flew him to Gold Coast
and there you go.
We signed him then.
I remember seeing that photo on your Instagram of passing over the heavyweight title of something. In hindsight now, a brilliant analysis, I think.
Well, that's why I posted it. Because, Isaac's a great guy, and he's very similar to us in terms of it is what it is, and, you take the punches, and, we're here to, I think, this is something Sam and I were talking about the other day as well, as our goal is not necessarily to, I guess, take things or buy things from other people. It's more growing. That's the fun part for us. Now, naturally, you're going to have, when you grow things, you're going to have people look and wonder why they're doing that, and you're going to have people in any business, and this is just how it is, but. People going, oh, they're not doing it right, or, oh, that's not the way that you do it, and whatever, and that's absolutely fine. I think for us, we just stay in our own bubble. We're not here to necessarily compete or do anything with anyone. Our thing is just to do what we want to do and do it our way, and there's no one else that exists outside of that. And that works for us.
And I think I'd agree with that. I think the way I'm starting to see it is you guys are, at least with the talent side of things, aiming to be the online talent agency.
I don't like the word online. The only reason I don't like online is because
digital first talent.
It's just where the attention is.
Yeah.
If it was on TV and if people were watching that, then we'd be the television agency.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. It's end consumer, and end consumer is right now they're consuming content through a different cable than what TV was consumed through.
Yeah. But it's that analysis that you're aware that is the new medium, and a lot of people aren't. in this business.
It has been for a long time. I don't think we're not revolutionary in the fact that we found that. I just think that there's a lot of people that have done it wrong.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that can sell a 1976 Ford Falcon, and a lot of people are bringing Mercedes Benzes to these people, and they're going, yeah, I can sell it, and they've got no fucking clue what it actually is. If you can't post a photo on Instagram, how dare you try and manage someone?
Yeah.
That.
It's funny that, isn't it?
Well,
you see that a lot on Instagram. We get that every now and then, like PR people following us that manage these sorts of people. And it's very few and far between the people who fully understand the medium that they're engaged.
Yeah. And like I said, anyone can pick up the phone and call up a venue and book it if you've got the money to throw the deposit down or whatever. Our thing is, it really is all about how do we make these people enjoy the content in whatever medium these guys are posting.
But it's also the fact that you've had the experience as Josh Wade and Cunny and these characters that you've created online in your own right. So just going to that point, you have that experience, whereas a lot of people don't, I would say.
Oh, I guess I wouldn't say it was a mistake. I didn't know that that's where it was going to lead me, and I'm very lucky that Sam and I met, and that this is where it was always meant to go.
Yeah. You said that for a while. I remember you said that for a while, that you wanted to help other talent, help other people, make themselves.
Well, Sam and I just get to live vicariously through it. There's a lot of there's a lot of comedians that say shit that I was like, I would never say that, but I love that you can do it for me. So that's the fun part of it, is everyone, you're working with all these different people, and then all these people have different ideas, and everyone wants different things, and for us, it's like, how do you make that? How do you make it happen for them?
What do you tell, like, if you were to say to the audience, this is what Verve is, Verve Network, entertainment, merch. How do you explain it to people? If you're sitting on the airplane and someone asks you, what do you do?
I think the way I look at it is like, we're the Virgin of entertainment.
Okay.
Virgin, the holding company, is just Virgin, but they've got a lot of other things underneath.
Yeah.
Obviously, Virgin is, I think it's quite jumbled because it's just all over the place. It's just a general holding company, but we are essentially the Virgin of entertainment, where any business that falls under entertainment, we will have.
Yeah.
And we see that we fit into the perfect axis between entertainment and technology. And I think that's where the world's going. I think we see it with Netflix, with all those different things. So, that's where we're native. That's our home. We're not a business that went from one medium and then we're transitioning into the digital age. And this is where we started. So for us, it's exciting because it means that, well, at least with the digital side of things, we've got at least a good 30, 40 years in the bag. That's where it's going to be.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And the bulk of what you do at the moment is managing talent, doing events, doing merch for that talent as well. Some content as well.
Yeah, for sure. So we have our first couple of specials coming out fairly soon that we've produced ourselves, and we've got a great team.
We're just about to launch a new company called Verve Pictures.
Okay.
Yeah.
And people will, the exciting part for us with that is because a lot of these guys, they haven't been on TV, they haven't had radio time, they haven't had those sorts of, boxes ticked. It's very hard for them to get funding, and it's very hard for them to do anything the way that people, think that you have to do it. And I don't think anyone's done it right. And I think that we have done it right. And I think that very soon people will look at it and go, nice. That's cool. There's going to be probably people that think it's shit and whatever, but, fucking do it better and we'll see how we go. But, we really want to get into that long-form content creation and that's where we see the mediums going and finding out ways that we can produce that ourselves and with the talent so that they can continue to build different revenue streams for themselves. We've always referred to ourselves not as talent managers but as business partners with these people. each talent is a different brand. It's like Starbucks, and we have a percentage in that store that we we have an obligation to fulfill, and that percentage only becomes better if they have more revenue streams and they treat it like a business. So what works for us is working with people that can also treat themselves as a business,
right?
Because we've only got a percentage in it. We don't own the whole thing,
And so you've been doing a lot of live events. You just spoke about the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
What are you most excited about over the next year? Like, what are you looking at in particular? Is it that point that you made about the specials? Is it...
I think that's going to be a big one.
Yeah.
We're trying to revolutionize the way that consumers consume long-form content and how creators can actually make money from it.
Yeah. I think because, and this came about back when I was doing comedy. I was never the best comedian at all, but I gave it a crack.
You were one of the better ones.
I gave it a crack. There were so many ideas and things that I wanted to do, but the constant chat with management and all those different things was, okay, well, we can try and take it here, or they're not funding it. And it was this constant, it was out of my control. And again, that's a real pet peeve.
Yeah. So someone comes to you, comedian comes to you and says, I want to do this. And what will often happen is the agent will say, okay, I'll reach out to Channel 9, Channel 7, whatever.
We'll take it to Screen Australia, see if they can get some. They've got a funding thing coming up for YouTubers with Google and da-da-da.
It's like a Hail Mary type thing most of the time.
And you end up sitting around just waiting for it, and it never comes. It'll never come.
No. And it's been like that for a long time as well.
It's only ever been like that. And it's been like that with television as well. The cool part about, obviously, digital content is and where it's going. You look at people like Joe Rogan and Chris D'Elia and all these other comedians and that have the podcast, that they have their live events. Joe's doing the UFC. He had Fear Factor. He's crossing all these different verticals of pop culture. Now, if people could understand how much money that guy is making,
it's fun.
I think people would be sick, because he owns all the IP to everything. He owns all of that. And, when that guy can do, $150 tickets, $200 tickets at 5,000 seats back to back, 10,000 seats in a night, and just do that whenever he feels like it, and then come and smoke weed in a studio with Elon Musk, that guy is the new Ellen.
Yeah, he is.
That guy just took Ellen's spot and Oprah's spot and just shit on it.
He's the biggest show on the internet.
And he would have gone through the exact same. He's the biggest show in the world.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
But that's what I mean, though. Like, he is the biggest show, And
that guy just walked around the gate and just built his own castle and built his own compound. And I think we're living in such a good time that everyone can do that now. If you want to do this by yourself and you've got what it takes and whatever, then you can. You all you need is brand. That's the only important thing.
This is very exciting because I'm starting to get a better picture now of what it is that you're doing.
Right.
And it's, how could you not be excited if you were a talent and you've had that previous experience with the age-old manager business that you've worked with in the past, and now you can come to you guys and they can tell you some ridiculous Hail Mary and you'll be like, yeah, sure, let's go.
But I don't want to be the gatekeeper either.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the gatekeeper.
No, you've got the infrastructure. There's a difference.
I would like to build the infrastructure, and if it works well, then absolutely. But at the same time, karma is reciprocal, and I think that that came out funny. If someone wants to do something and we can't necessarily provide the means to do it, because it might not be a financial return to be able to pay that back, or it might be a bunch of different factors, we'll still always take the time of day to go, well, how about you try this? How about you do this? How about you do that? Because that's just how it works. We take meetings with people all the time. Not because we're sitting here and we're going, we just want to eat it all up and take everyone from everywhere and everything. That's not our approach to it at all. But for us, it's just, if you have a question, we're super open to answering it. And if you kick it off and you win an Oscar and there's a moment that one of us have said something to you and we've taken the time and we just get a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And I think you might have said that in our previous interview with you, that the thing that you got enjoyment from as a comedian was the people. And it goes back to that point you made earlier. I think for you guys, it sort of sounds like seeing that individual have it, whether it's success, enjoyment in what they're doing, and knowing that you created that seems important for you. And I can sort of see now, because you sent me, when I was asking about things that we want to chat about before this interview, you sent me this interview of Gary Vee and Michael Ovitz. Mm-hmm. And I can see there's some similarities there. Like, as in, I don't know if you'd agree with this, but I feel like you guys click with his ethos of doing this sort of work.
Yeah.
Well, he just changed the game.
Yeah.
And they took the power out of the people's hands.
Yeah, well, he's a super interesting character, because he said, we've got another bottle here if you want as well. He said that, just chuck that one down there. He said something like they started the business and the thing that made them successful is they decided to outsource pretty much everything, but that gave them way more power because they were able to just focus on deals and opportunities and ideas. Mm-hmm. They sort of became like playmakers in a way.
Yes.
As opposed to the classic agent where it's sort of quite passive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think the main thing about Michaelides is that the whole packaging, that's what changed the game, was that instead of them owning the talent and then them having to go to the studio and pitch a movie, or, waiting for the studios more like to come to them and say, we want this star to be in a movie, they just had the directors, they had the producers, they had all of it. So they just packaged a movie together, made the idea, and then pitched that to the studios instead of the other way around.
Yeah, they've got the writer, they've got the director, they've got the talent.
Actors, they've got everything. The switch. And they just go, hey, do you want it?
Yeah, and also they would introduce those people to each other.
Yes.
Not just generally, but specifically for these opportunities. Exactly. And then they would sort of become as part of that pitch process as well.
And it takes stress off the studio side of things, because they're
buyers in a way, aren't they?
They just become buyers. They're not sitting there and they they have allegiances with different groups of people. That's why you'll always find, like, Leonardo DiCaprio will always do, what is it, Martin Scorsese or Steven Spielberg?
Yeah, he's done some insane amount of Scorsese films.
You know what I mean? Like, they have those, and there's a reason for that. It's obviously they work well together, but, when you're making the studio money and you come back to them with another idea that just so happens to have the same group of people, the studio goes, yep, we'll pay double, and it just keeps going and going and going and going and going.
Yeah.
So, the studios, and I've always been fascinated by Hollywood, and not necessarily Hollywood as in the place or the location or movies, but show business.
I've recently read Howard Hughes's biography, and just to see those early years of how this industry basically set itself up in the 30s is super fascinating. It is fascinating, and at times it's terrifying to think that these studios owned people. They couldn't do anything. The record label side of things, that's the most fascinating. The music industry is the most fascinating thing, I think, for both Sam and I, in terms of how that works, because our first sort of exploration into that area was a massive eye-opener where you just go, whoa, really?
Just become a comedian. You'll own it all. But over there, it's a different thing. You've got a system of power that's been in control for 40, 50, 60 years, and they've figured out the best way for them to make the most amount of money. And, it takes time to get the right deal. They can also obviously provide a massive amount of leverage. So they have the power for a lot of that. And it's just, I've always... the whole Michael Jackson story, in terms of, I think it's something that people forget, but he made so much money from it, and the live touring and stuff like that, that he ended up buying 50% of Sony.
That's right, yeah.
To get out of his contract. And he was on stage in like 2001 holding up a sign saying Sony kills, and Tony Mottola, who was the head of Sony at the time, I don't know if he still is now, is the devil and whatnot, while owning the company. The dude bought Happy Birthday. You couldn't sing Happy Birthday on TV.
Really?
Yeah, you couldn't sing it anywhere. That's why they have different versions of the song. So it was only, I think, maybe 2 years ago that it was put in the public domain. But you hear people like Chris Rock and that talk about him from a business perspective. That's fucking gangster. That's scary. And there's a great speech that he makes. It's like filmed on a camera, and he's talking about, the labels and everything. They focused on me to just dance and sing and do what I was told, but it goes something along the lines of, but they didn't think that I would ever outthink them.
Yeah. I mean, look, regardless of all the recent stuff with Neverland.
Yeah, that story doesn't age well, does it?
It doesn't, no. He was an artist, so he was one of the greats, and so he had that insight.
I think it goes back to what I was saying before, where you have someone that from 8 years old, and this is, I think Justin Bieber will go through this as well. They understand the business better than the executive because they've been working in it since they were 8. If you started shearing sheep at 8 years old and some dude starts at 25 and he's 35 now and you're both the same age, you're going to have some tips for the cunt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the artist, I think, is a massive thing. In the same way as this comedy festival, I've heard a lot of comedians' comedy jokes for comedians by comedians, and they're brutal. So, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah.
No, it's true.
So, what do you think's been the biggest thing that you've learnt from Michael Ovitz? Because it seemed like that interview sort of crystallized a few ideas in your head that you already had.
Mm.
Was it this idea of the package, primarily?
We're already doing it.
Yeah, we were already doing it, but I did read Michael Ovitz's book, and it sort of did open my eyes to, wow, okay, this guy did it back then, and we're currently doing it now.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know that it had happened before.
There was someone who had done something.
Yes, and it was much more clear when I read it. I was like, okay, this is exactly what we're doing now in this time.
Yeah. And do you think that you guys... So there's the obvious fact that you'll focus on people that you think are talented, right? At the moment, it's been... you've got musicians or DJs, comics, a few of the... I don't know what you classify... Would you classify Fairburn as comics or performers?
They're comedians.
Yeah. Where do you want to go? Like, what are the other mediums that excite you the most? Is it sport? Is it reality TV? What do you think is... What are you eyeing off into the long term? Like, what do you... When you're standing there in the shower, what are you like, this is where I want to go?
Well, I think we both have, like, the biggest visions ever. Like,
the cards are close to the chest.
Yes.
I already think we've given away enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how I knew you'd say that, because I remember watching that interview of Michael Ovitz with Gary Vee, and he would often say a lot with saying nothing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is...
You've got to be good at it.
I feel like that is the game of an agent of his caliber.
Mm-hmm.
You've just got to be that type of person.
Yeah, it's not like we're
working with people here, not business. I mean, of course they're business, but they're essentially people. And it's like, I'm not going to go around and tell someone else about my mother's problems or what
the people you've spoken to. Yeah,
exactly. So,
well, he used this example. It wasn't in the Gary Vee one. It was another interview with that guy with the afro. He's based in New York. He's got a James someone. Anyway, the point is, he was talking about like this story of Paul Newman and how Paul Newman was down, and that's how they came to know each other and all that sort of stuff. But what I got from that is that it seems like this game is sort of like, if I did an analogy to finance, if you're dealing with businesses, it's like wholesale, obviously. Mm-hmm. But then when you start speaking to financial planners, or particularly private wealth, high net worth planners, they will never disclose a single fucking thing. Mm. You will never get an idea as to what is going on in their world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Other than some basic statistics.
Yeah. I mean, all we've really said is what people already know.
Yeah.
We have a couple of different, we're no different to any other agency. We book shows, we look after talent, and we make some merchandise.
How does this thing grow then? Like, do you think that you need
Not
to...
telling you.
No, like as in, is it further aid? Because like with CAA, they've just brought in lots of different agents. That's how they grew their business organically. Is it that, or is it just talent?
No, because we want to be in multiple sectors. I mean, if there's something that intrigues Sam and I in terms of business, then we'll go play in that field. CAA and something that Scooter Braun has done is, instead of buying, and I'm not saying this is what our plan is because it's not, but I thought that this was an interesting approach. He would buy the company. So Scooter Braun would go out and he would buy the management companies instead of going out and trying to poach talent.
Yeah.
The thing that's super important about working with talent and being business partners with these people is there's a relationship there. That's not something like when someone leaves someone that they're working with to go somewhere else, they're not leaving because that person has tied them up by the legs and taken them hostage and brought them over somewhere else. They've formed a relationship that is more significant somewhere. That's going to happen anywhere, no matter what. That's that's just how it works. People grow, people change. Some people can only do so much for other people, and then it might not necessarily fit the direction that both businesses are going. But I think Scooter Braun was smart and saw that, well, I don't want to become between that. There's a lot of infrastructure that I have that if I could plug them into that infrastructure with what they already have, it could help everyone grow there. And everyone growing is a very good thing. When people leave, managers and stuff like that, obviously people get shitty about that. But at the end of the day, like I said, no one's stealing business. Someone just lost business. That's
Exactly.
all.
And I think Michael Ovitz spoke about that as well. There was a few instances where he was managing, some director had reached out to him and he called, because he didn't ever like to steal from mum and pop type agencies. And he called up the guy and told him to say, you need to secure this client. And obviously the director eventually moved to him because it's Michael Ovitz. But you're definitely right. It's either you lose a client or you keep him. And it's as simple as that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And not to take it to heart either. I remember my first manager talking to me about this, and I was always very fascinated by what he was doing. And I lived in America with him for a little bit, and I got to see sort of his day-to-day and him dealing with other people. And we sort of lived in close quarters of one another. So I got to see a lot more than, what you usually would see. You only get the phone call every now and then, whether it's about a deal or something like that. For me, I sort of got to see the back end of what actually goes into managing other people's businesses and helping them grow. And he was telling me about a bunch of really successful people that he built, and then they went and moved on. And he said the first few times it's like a breakup. It's one of the worst feelings of all time. A lot of the time these people more than what their girlfriend knows them, more than what their parents know them. Like you're there for them in terms of more than anyone else. Money is how we live and survive.
What so many of them just want is someone that actually cares, and that's what so many other talent agencies they don't. It's all about business, where a lot of the time they just want to actually talk as well.
Yeah.
And actually have
they
a
want
friend.
someone just to listen to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot going through their heads.
You get lost in the system. So we that's sort of the thing, is how do you scale in something like that and keep those connections. So someone like Scooter Braun, he'd only be looking after Justin Bieber and someone like Ariana Grande, and they'd have their own little teams together. But he has those connections with them, and then to scale that, I guess, you just buy.
It's very important, to find good people. The way to scale any business is you have to find the right people and grow from there.
But that's not revolutionary either.
No.
Like a lot of companies buy other companies because they understand what I just said then. That's the only common sense way of doing it.
Yeah. Well, there's only 3 ways to do it for you guys. It's you can acquire other businesses, you can bring on other key agents, or you can find more clients. So it's one of those 3 things, essentially.
We like building.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we like to do. more fun out of it.
Yeah.
Water a plant every fucking day and it grows, and you take a photo of it.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the whole fun part of it. It's the journey, and that's why we like business. And it's the exact same thing. It's just all these little shops that we're setting up for everyone.
Something we're both obsessed with is just growing. That's just something that we're all both super obsessed with.
I think it's the only way. It's that being industrious to just chip away at it gradually, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're in a certain situation where, and I feel like Lauren and I have had that realization recently. You know, like for her to go full time while we've been trying to get this something up and going on the side of doing a podcast is, I can't tell you, like the last 3 years has been nuts. And I can imagine it would have been like that for you guys working full time, but like to have that battle mentally of like, I don't want to be doing this work, I want to be doing my own stuff for 3 years.
It is like everyone says, it is a mental battle in your head. You have to be mentally strong to do it.
Yeah.
Because you have a lot of time to think to yourself. You know, naturally people doubt.
Yeah, you always have those doubtful moments.
Yes.
But people will always doubt.
Yes.
You know, there's still people out there that are doubting Scooter Braun.
Yeah.
There's still people out there that are doubting all these different people. So doubt is comfortable for me. I mean, that's something that I've always had because I've always been very outspoken about my ambitious thoughts and my goals, and same for Sam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's what you do with that doubt that matters.
Yeah, if you can channel
use it to prove everyone wrong.
Yeah.
I think that's what I do.
Do you you mentioned this Scooter Braun guy? What's his agency called?
SB Projects.
SB Projects.
But he also, his big thing is also now TV, film.
They don't own SB Nation, do they?
No.
No. Okay. No. Cool. Okay, so SB Projects is the name of the business.
Mm-hmm.
Who else do you respect in this area at the moment?
In this industry?
You know, specific to managing talent. Because I've noticed, like, for example, Gary Vaynerchuk has recently, in the last year or two, launched both Vayner Sports and Vayner Talent. Although the talent doesn't actually seem like a talent agency.
Doesn't manage anyone.
Yeah.
They just create content for individuals.
Yeah.
Yeah, like personal branding agency.
But they've done the sports stuff well. That was a smart move by him.
Yes.
So I'm curious, are there other people outside of a Michael Ovitz or a Scooter Braun that you look up to?
I mean, definitely people we look up to, but they're probably the only two actually in this talent management industry that we look up to. But I mean, I know Josh looks heavily up to Vince McMahon, and I look up to people like Elon Musk and stuff like that. Like that's who
He's going one step further there.
That's who I take inspiration from.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, Elon Musk, he's a bit of a character, that guy. That's for sure.
I mean, yeah, I think they're all similar in terms of they've just created these universes for themselves. Yeah.
And they all, I think the main thing to take from them is that they all care about the end consumer more than anything else.
Yeah, that's for me has been a massive lesson in the last few years and you see this generally when you read these books. Like at the moment I'm reading Google's book on how they built that company. And it's just the old cliche, like focus on the end consumer. But it's really until you have something and you're hearing things from your end consumer. You've been in previous, I don't know about you guys, I know you've mainly worked for yourself, but having worked in business previously and you're working for a company and the consumer is telling you something, but the business won't listen. And then you see it there in things like that book for Google. That's when it really starts to hit home that you really should. Because once you can do that, then you have something that a lot of other people don't offer, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think, everyone looks up to, your Jeff Bezos, fucking Elon Musk, the whole, like, they are the epitome of it. Yes. And I think that can't be taken away from them ever. Like, you have to have those people that you look up to.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think it just comes.
There's something to take from everyone. That's the way I look at it. Is I can look at anyone that's successful in business, and I can take something from them. They've all made it, so it's not like, something's working. So if you can look at them all and go, okay, like, what about this person?
Yeah.
What is the commonality? What what do they all have in common?
Yeah, I think that product first ethos has been a big thing. And for me, having come from roles that were always driven around sales and marketing, that was not a hard pill to swallow, but a hard thing to realize, I think. You know,
people are worried about the back end, and you know, we've heard of places that have, you know, like money, like a counter of money in the office in talent management, and you're like,
what do you mean? Like, as in
how much money's coming through for, you know, different events and stuff like that, and if they hit a quota, then, and like, to me, that is just like the most outrageous fucking thing I've ever heard.
Why is that?
Because the money will come, but if you're trying to set a quota and you're trying to reach a budget of some sort, and that's sort of where the ethos of the office is, when that's on the wall, you end up making decisions to fit that narrative and not the brand or the person's narrative. You know, if you need to make a couple of more $100 here and there, you start making stupid decisions. You start treating it in a way that it's not meant to be treated whatsoever. You know, we're not selling product here.
Yeah, you're focusing on people and what they're doing. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that's been a big realization as well. Sometimes you just got to focus on, again, going back to that idea of product, which in your case is people. When you guys are standing there in the shower and daydreaming, thinking about 20 years from now, what does this look like?
I can't tell you.
It's a great question.
That's a very good question.
And that's all we think about.
I wish you could tell me why you can't tell me.
Just, it's not that I don't know.
Yeah.
I fucking know. It's just, I think we want to be able to innovate faster than our competitors can imitate. And, you know, people will see what we do and we'll see what other people do, and that's just how it works. You know, we've taken a lot of different things from a lot of different places and we've created our own formula like every other business has. But these are our, 7, 8, 12 secret herbs and spices. How much is that?
I think it's 12.
It's 12 herbs and spices.
12.
Yeah. The secret sauce.
Yeah, that's the secret sauce for us, and the secret sauce will always be there. What's Coca-Cola's dream in the next 20 years?
Yeah.
Keep selling Coke.
Yeah, it is. It is for sure.
There's my answer.
I was having a look at my phone before, and I realised you guys are probably going to get going. It's 3:15.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of other things I wanted to ask you, but I think next time you're down, we'll have to save it for that.
What have we got? You got any good ones? One or two more?
I've got lots, but we'd be getting into a black hole.
I need to know now.
We'll do one more.
Yeah,
We'll
give us
do
one
one
black hole.
Well, the problem
I've
is
never
that,
seen that before.
I feel like the problem is that you won't be able to tell me because it's about talent.
Okay, yeah, no.
Yeah, so we'll keep it at that. What I do want to ask you guys to finish off is some short, fast questions. I've asked you plenty before, but this time I want to make it a bit more relevant to this topic. So, if you guys had to give the audience a book on the idea of managing people or agency land or media, what would the book be for Christmas?
It's the Michael Ovitz book for sure.
It has to be, yeah. But I also think this is something that can't be read and then implemented to be the best. You've just got to naturally know how to do it.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to observe people and know how to treat them and react to the situations.
Yeah. You got to take in many different things in osmosis, I feel.
Yeah.
You know, and be constantly reading and thinking about the space as to what is going on. In the business you've created so far in Verve, what are you guys individually most proud of?
I think
Jeez, I've never fucking thought about that.
you're right, it's a good question. I think for me it'd be I really did like jump in the deep end. It's always something I've been willing to do. I love taking risks, and for me it was a no-brainer, but I think for a lot of other people, there would have been a lot of doubt there. But for me, I'm just so...
You're glad you took that opportunity
Yes.
at the time. I think I'd agree. I think with the age that we're all at,
Yes.
it's the best time in your life to take those sort of opportunities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I also think, I'm lucky enough to have loving parents that even if I was 40 and something happened, I know I can still run back to them and say,
Hey,
let me sleep in your house for 2 days. You know what I mean? So I
all
think
I
it's
can
just,
afford is cheese singles.
exactly. I understand the lucky situation that I'm in. If I didn't take risks, then I'd be stupid.
Yeah. What about you, Josh?
I guess I'm proud that I've met Sam, because without Sam I wouldn't be able to do this. So, and I'm proud of everything that we've created, the time that we've had to spend with each other, and the fact that we've been able to just wake up every morning, and not necessarily on the business side, but we have the luxury of being able to wake up every single morning, and we like what we do.
Yeah.
And that's something that a lot of people don't get to have. And, I see it with a lot of people. They're struggling to find that thing. And
you found it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I can imagine as well, because it's one thing to have your first sale or deal, and then to have the second one, and then to know that you can support yourself doing this thing that you love doing. It's quite, it's not often you get those moments to sit back and think about it, I think.
No, I never really do.
Yeah. Because you're so focused on just pushing forward and growing. Is there a particular movie or doco that you think in this space of media, people, talent, whatever you want to call it, that you always refer back to or enjoyed the most?
Yeah, I know one of them. I don't know if this is the one you're thinking of, but it's the Dr. Dre.
Oh,
There's a thing about Dr. Dre, which is obviously a prime example of...
What is that called, by the way?
The Defiant Ones.
The Defiant Ones, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely one of them. It's how to create $1 billion empire out of a talent.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like you said this to me maybe in our last interview, that was quite an important doco for you.
I mean, a lot of these things that we're reading and seeing, that they're almost things that we inherently know, because we just keep having those aha moments where it's like, oh, that's what we were doing. It's nice to hear that it works.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, it's totally true. To see someone else doing this thing and knowing that what you're doing is in the right direction.
It's the reassurance factor.
Because you don't have that when you're an entrepreneur. It's just, again, you're constantly focused on growing. Any last requests for the audience? Where can guys and gals find you on social media and what you're up to?
Follow Verve Network.
Yeah.
Follow
On
Verve
Instagram?
Network on Instagram, Facebook. They're the two socials at the moment.
Yeah.
You'll see everything on there.
And is there anything big coming up other than you're just about to finish the Comedy Fest? I think by the time this is out, it'll be 2 weeks from now. What else is coming up? Tours?
Yeah, everyone's got tours. We're going to America to shoot some stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, but we just moved into a new office, so
okay.
We got the lease the day we left here. So we haven't even been inside yet to work in there.
So you got the keys?
Yeah, we've got everything.
We've had it we've had it painted and everything like that. So it's all fresh. It's all ready to go. So when we land, we leave Monday morning. When we land, we're literally getting in the car and driving straight to IKEA to get the furniture, and that's the next chapter for us then. And so it's all speed ahead. It's all.
Well, look, I appreciate you guys coming in. I know it was short, but you are busy with the Comedy Fest.
I appreciate you having us. Thanks a lot.
And I think it's just for myself, it's fascinating to see what you guys are doing. I think indirectly, I'm a little bit proud just to know that there are people here in Australia from the online space that can do something, because I don't think many people have done something in this space. Apart from the obvious things like talent. So it's been interesting watching things from afar. So well done to the two
Thank
of
you.
you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Thank you for making it to the end. Before you run off, subscribe if you enjoyed this episode, or do leave us a rating. For Instagram, go follow us on @uncommon_podcast. For YouTube, search Uncommon Podcast, and don't forget to subscribe if you're watching this video. Also give us a like or leave a comment on what you thought about the episode. But until next time, thanks so much for listening.